the Winnipeg Comedy Festival proudly presents The Future Show. And now, the host of Tomorrow, Today, Tom Cavanagh.
Thank you, and welcome. Before we begin, as your host, I want to send out a personal thank you to Howie Mandel, Martin Short, Andrea Martin, Mike Myers, all the people who turned down this gig so that ultimately I could have the gig. We have a theme for tonight's show. The theme for tonight's show is the future. I'm going to say it like that, the future. If I say it in French, it doesn't quite have the same impact. Le futur. Le futur, bon. Le futur. What do we know about the future? Well, Joe Strummer from The Clash once said that the future is unwritten, which actually not true because I have the whole entire next hour right here in front of me on the teleprompter. It's the thing about the future, though, right? You never know. Imagine like 30 years ago, right, if you encountered someone from the future, like a time traveler. Well, actually, if they were from the future, they would have to be a time traveler, right? but so imagine you run into this 30 years ago. You run into this person from 2014, and they're like, Kid, you're not going to believe it. The future is amazing. At any time, we can communicate with anyone, anywhere, instantly. You know, we can access the entire breadth of human knowledge and achievement, just like that. You'd be like, oh, that's because, like, the human brain gets so evolved. We get the giant bum heads like those. Remember those aliens in Star Trek? You know, we partake in a shared consciousness on an astral plane, like a harmonious connection between all living things. And the guy'd be like, no, it's because we have these tiny cordless phones. And we never stop looking at them, even though they give us tumors. We don't care. We ignore everyone else. And hey, look, here's a photo of what I had for lunch: pudding. Can I tell you the best part of your immediate future? That is my, if you'd like to see it, I have a Christopher Lloyd impersonation, Doc Brown from Back to the Future. So here we go, without further ado. All right, you ready? If my calculations are correct, by the time this baby hits 88 miles an hour, you're gonna see some serious shit. Please, it's not worth any amount of applause. I once had the pleasure of working with Christopher Lloyd one time, true story, and the guys made me do that impersonation for him. I was terrified, but I did it, and true story, this is what he said to me. That's great. What's that from? The following comedian is going to give us his take on the future. Spoiler alert, it's going to be funny. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Peter White.
Nice to be here in Winnipeg, talking about the future. It's hard to say that without sounding stupid. Like, it sounds like a 1950s newsreel. You know what I mean? Like, come with me, let me show you the future. Yeah, flying cars, space elevators, self-cleaning ovens, ladies. It's the future. Right? I don't know. I don't think about the future very much. I try to not think about it because it's always depressing. It's never a good thing, you know what I mean? But I want to care. I want to be one of these guys who, like, cares about the future. I watch the documentaries and stuff about how we're ruining the planet, and I'm focused in, and I really, really want to care, and I don't at all, not even a little. I want to. Like global warming, I want to be one of the guys who cares about global warming, but it's hard to care about global warming when you're fat. That's the truth, you know what I mean? And I know I'm not that fat, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not the fattest guy around, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not, like, gonna die tomorrow fat, just, like, awkward to look at naked fat. I mean, that in-between fat. Like, I'm not so fat that no one will have sex with me, I'm just fat enough that no one's bragging to their friends about it. Weird way to be at. But I'm getting fatter. I'm getting fatter every day. I'm not losing weight, I'm just gaining every single day. Like, yesterday I accidentally ate a whole loaf of bread. That's where I'm at, you know what I mean? It wasn't like a man versus food thing. I just started eating bread and then I ran out of bread. I'm only gonna get fatter as time goes on. And so that makes it really hard to care about global warming. Because I hear these scientists say things like, if we don't change the way we're living, in 50 years, the ice caps are gonna melt, the whole world's gonna be underwater. And I'm like, yeah, but you know, in 50 years, I'm gonna be the size of a whale anyway, so that sounds kind of comfortable, you know what I mean? Because I'm not much of a walker, but I am one hell of a floater, all right? Look at me, I'm a buoyant son of a bitch. Bring on the water, that sounds great. It's just a big harem of women floating on my fat body. Oh, God, I'm gonna be the sexiest man alive. Great. In a world underwater, the boat-shaped man is king. Can't wait. By the way, that's how lazy I've gotten, by the way, is I no longer even fantasize about being skinny. I just fantasize about situations in which being fat is awesome. Giving up? Just giving up entirely. I'm like, what if I was ripped? And my mind's like, nah. What if there's an ice age and you gotta be fat to stay warm? And I'm like, I'll take it. That'll do. But I wanna care, I do. I wanna be like proactive, I wanna try to save the world. It's tough to care because I don't have any kids. That makes it really tough. And when you don't have kids, the earth is kind of like a rental car, you know what I mean? Like I just hand the keys in when I'm done and that's it. It's not my problem anymore, you know what I mean? It's just, so it's hard. So when things go wrong, like, have you ever been in a rental car and then hit something? It's the funniest thing that's ever happened, you know what I mean? You hit a giant pothole, you're like, oh God, something broke. Something definitely broke. Oh man, that sucks for whoever's gonna deal with that. Thank God it's not me. I don't know, because people try to tell you how to be better, and it always sounds like patronizing to me, you know what I mean? People are like, oh, whenever you leave a room, make sure you turn the lights out. And like, that can't be the biggest problem. You can't tell me to turn the lights out and then still let NASCAR exist. Come on. Big group of rednecks teabagging Mother Nature for 500 miles. That's gotta be a bigger problem. Come on. You make Jethro drive a Prius, I will turn my lights off, all right? And it's not just the cars either, it's the fans too. These 3,000 idiots or 300,000 idiots, however many are there, who show up to watch people drive nowhere. Like, have you seen these people? Their farts alone are putting a hole in the ozone layer. Come on. I wish I could see the future. I'm sad that I'm not gonna get to see the future, you know what I mean? I wanna be there. Because it's gonna be some cool stuff, you know what I mean? Like, if I had a time machine, I would definitely go see the future. I don't understand the people who wanna go to the past. That always seems weird to me. Like, if I had a time machine, I'd go back to the year 1500 and see what was going on then. It's like, we already know. Read a book, stupid. What are you doing? Why are you wasting a time travel trip? We already know what happens. Spoiler alert, it sucks. All right? No toilet, no fridge, no stove. Just go camping. It's the same thing. Don't need to waste a time travel trip on the year 1500. It's stupid. The past sucks. Go to the future. I have a friend, we were talking about it, and he said if he had a time machine, what he would do is go back in time and have sex with a different woman from every century, which is a really bold idea because he's never had sex with a woman from this century. I was kind of impressed. Sounds like, I mean, to be honest, it sounds like a stupid idea because, like, anything before 1930, there was no toothpaste or deodorant. I don't really want to stink bang my way through history. That doesn't sound like a good time. I'm gonna stick to the shower age. And more importantly, I was asking him, I'm like, how do you think you're gonna go back in time and pick up women? Like, that's not a chance. He's like, no, man, it'll be easy. I'll just go back in time. I got my futuristic clothes on. I got my futuristic gadgets. I just tell them I'm from the future. They'll want to have sex with me. I'm like, yeah, or burn you at the stake for being a witch. I think sex is the right call. Like, you think a guy walks in here right now in a tinfoil suit with a holographic iPod, all the girls are gonna get tingly? I don't think so. And he was like, well, his argument was, well, if a woman walked in here right now in a tinfoil suit saying she was from the future, guys would want to have sex with her. I was like, yeah, but that has nothing to do with the future. You could have stopped at a girl walks in. We're playing with different rules here, man. That's not how it works. And don't go to the past for sex. The past isn't where you want to go for sex. You want to go to the future. The future's going to have lots of sex. Like, think how much sex there is now, how much there's going to be in the future. Because sex isn't going anywhere. You know what I mean? Because sex is fun. And you know it's fun because it's the only thing in the world that's fun enough that people do, even though sometimes it makes babies. You know what I mean? There's nothing else that fun. You would never get on a roller coaster if occasionally at the end they handed you a kid. All right, you guys have been a lot of fun. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Coming up, John Wing faces the future of fatherhood when the Winnipeg Comedy Festival continues.
Our next comic would like to remind you that one day in the future, you'll be as old as he is. So lay off. A warm welcome, please, for John Wing.
Thank you so much. I'm John. I'm from the past. I'm here in the present to talk about the future. You know, some people say the future is now, but it's not. This is now. Now is now. Here. Now. Future is then. When we get to then, that'll be the future. And we'll say the future is now, and it will be. But not now. Then. Parenting will have changed dramatically in the future by the time now becomes then. It's already changed a lot. My parents smoked in the house, they smoked in the car, never put seatbelts on us, left us in hot cars while they went shopping. Got drunk, verbally abused us, spanked us whenever they felt like it. And I know you're all asking yourselves, why aren't they in prison? I was fed red meat and milk at every meal. I haven't had a decent bowel movement in 30 years. When I was young, the only organic thing I ever ate was a worm on a dare. Now, I'm a parent today, in the now, parenting different. We never smoke in the house in front of the kids. We never smoke in the car. We car seat and seat belt the children until they have permanent creases on their necks from the belt. We don't spank them or scream at them. And if we do, we apologize to the little bastards. To go into the room, Daddy is so sorry he yelled at you for not doing the thing he asked you to do 16 goddamn times. Our parents weren't frightened the way we are. My parents bought us bicycles, and they said, traffic is that way. I bought my kids bicycles. I also bought them helmets, knee pads, elbow pads, shin pads, and bulletproof vests. And then I said, stay in the yard. In the future, children will be born bubble wrapped and potty trained. Everything parents don't want to do will be programmed out of the kids before they even come out of the womb. Until the age of 5, their vocal cords will only produce sounds of soothing ocean waves. Waterfalls, an ambient whale song. Baby cried for 12 straight hours last night. I haven't slept that well in years. In the future, homeschooling will be mandatory. Now, by the way, I don't have anything against homeschooling. It's the attitude of the parents who do it that I don't like. You know, that snotty, we homeschool our kids. As though I've never taught my kids a goddamn thing. My house is just a big playground. I always say to them, oh, we homeschool our kids too. And we also sent them to school. See, that way when they graduate, they'll be so far ahead of your kids, it won't even be funny. I hate that. All kids are homeschooled, except homeless kids. And they're street schooled, so watch out. Language will change as well. Language evolves, because words are resilient, right? Words change their meaning every day. When I was young, if something was cool, we called it cool. We were so literal back then. Cool has changed a lot. It became boss, radical, which was shortened to rad because it's too hard to spell. Fly, bad, dope, fat with a PH. And now you know what the word for cool is where I live? Word for cool. Ready? Dank. Dank. My wife and I were in line at the movies. 2 teenage girls standing in front of us. They didn't realize we were so close to them. One of them said, so how was the sex? And the other one said, oh my God, it was dank. It was so dank, incredibly dank. I said, really? It was damp and it smelled bad? You know you should shower first, right? Didn't they teach you that? If you shower, the sex won't be that mildewy. You'll find that out. When I was young, if a man and a woman wanted to meet up for sex, it was called an assignation, a tryst, a one-night stand, or in my case, an act of God. Nowadays, it's a hookup, and pretty soon it'll be an app. Eye poke. Or if you can't find a partner, the selfie. Thank you. And you know, I'm assuming technology will remain static in the future, but it won't. We know. By the time my teenage daughter has a teenage daughter, texting will be as outdated as smoke signals. Everything will be telepathic and fast. By the time you think you want to have sex, you've already had it. Wow, I think that was great. Your head will be a website, me.com. But that's then, and this is now. Let's just enjoy the now.
Big Daddy Tazz on Generation Next when the Winnipeg Comedy Festival returns.
A Winnipeg Festival favorite, here's Big Daddy Tazz.
Thank you very much. You know, they were talking about, does the future scare me? And people say, oh, the children are the future. You know, the teens are our future. If that's true, OMG, we're so screwed, LOL. Hashtag selfies are not for safety. I hate teenagers. It's not I hate them. They're not all disrespectful, just the ones I've met. And just as I'm thinking the kids can't be the future, I do a thing called I Love to Read month in February. I decide I'm going to read to 1,000 kids. Ends up being 3,066 kids. And as my young son said, 67, Daddy, because you read to me. So here I am in the schools reading the early year kids, wearing mucklucks and a silly shirt because that's me. And there's a sweet little girl in the front row, pink dress, little pigtails coming out. Glasses, little wonky eye, the cutest little thing ever. And she's just rapt, just listening to me read a book called Howard B. Wigglebottom Learns About Bullies. And the pigs are picking on this little rabbit. And every time I said the pigs did something wrong, the little girl goes, don't they got Jesus in their heart? And I'm like, I don't know, let's read on and see what happens. And the pig would do something, they should have Jesus in their heart. And then I tell them about, you know, what does brave mean? And I say, well, here, I'm brave because I went swimming and I'm not a very good swimmer, so I'm scared of the water, and being brave means I went swimming. And so afterwards, the little girl comes up to me, it's myself and the principal and this teacher. And the little girl comes up to me and goes, Taz, do you know why you're not very good at swimming? Because you're very, very, very fat. And I said, do you have Jesus in your heart? She looks at me and goes, Jesus can see you too. He knows you're fat. And walks away. The teachers and I are laughing. We didn't know what to do. The best thing that happened was one of the first schools I read to, this little girl puts up her hand. I said, oh, do you have a question? She goes, Tazzy, how come you're so funny? I said, well, because I'm not very good at math. And she says, well, that doesn't make any sense. I said, well, some people are good at math, and some people are good at art, and some people are good at music, and some people are good at sports. I'm very good at being silly. I love being silly. It doesn't matter if a few thousand people at an auditorium are accidentally at Safeway for one person. I don't care. I love making people laugh. And the little girl goes, are you good at everything? I said, no, I'm not. There's lots of stuff I'm not good at. And in the front row, there's this blonde-haired, blue-eyed, glowing-looking little Children of the Corn-looking kid. And he goes, like running. You're probably not very good at running. And the teacher stands up. And I go, don't worry about it. He's not doing it to be mean. He's doing it out of innocence, right? Kids are innocent. They're not doing it to be malicious or anything like that. And so afterwards, the teacher comes up to me and says, you know what, I'm sorry, that's sort of the problem nowadays. The kids are rude. I said, no, he's not being rude, he's being innocent. And then all of a sudden, the little boy comes walking up to me and he grabs my little pinky. And he just holds on. He goes, Mr. Tazz, thank you. Thank you very much for coming and read the Wiggle Bottom book to me. I have it at home, and you do very funny voices. Thank you. But do you know how I know you're not good at running? I said, oh, here it comes. He goes, because you're wearing mucklucks. And you'd fall if you run in mucklucks. And I turned to the teacher as if to say, see? And he goes, and you're huge. He's right. Good night.
Our next comic is the only lady on our future show, or as the other performers tonight call her, mankind's only hope to repopulate the green room. Please welcome Evany Rosen.
Watching a lot of apocalyptic themed TV shows, like shows where the theme is like something's happened and now the world's gonna end, but also it isn't, because that's not a sustainable model for network TV. The end is nigh for 6 seasons and a movie. And my favorite and the most confusing one is Fringe. Any fans of Fringe in the house? It's like a cool 10 women, awesome. If you haven't seen it, it's great. It takes place in the not too distant future, and everything's sort of fine, except here's the twist. There is a parallel universe that is infringing on our own. Because why wouldn't there be, I guess? Apparently, our universe and the other universe, like opposite universes, can't both exist without destroying each other, apparently. But characters in the show are always saying, like, 2 realities can't, and then they smash 2 snow globes together to prove that it's true. And I wasn't totally getting it, but then I had an experience in real life that made me understand Fringe. Here's what happened. I went to the home of my very pregnant friend, and with her, watched the reality show I Didn't Know I Was Pregnant. And the 2 snow globes in my mind shattered together and the universe split. Because if you haven't seen the show, it's a reality show about women who manage to carry a baby to term without knowing that they're doing that. which is a bit hard to fathom on its own, but it's impossible to fathom when the pregnant woman next to you during the broadcast does things like make you drink wine in front of her and then smell your mouth and weep for her youth. Before just switching gears and laughing too hard at a Skittles commercial and then calmly consuming 2 whole burritos. And by whole, I mean she consumed them whole like a snake. And now I feel like I get fringe, so that's good. I had a birthday this year, not unlike all the years so far. But this one was a bit different. This one was special because as of this year, I'm now officially in my late 20s. And you guys, what is happening to me? Like, just a lot of new shapes are emerging that I don't know quite what to. I don't understand fully. Like my hips have become like more load bearing for the future baby I don't currently want. That's happening. I went to my doctor about it, and I hate my doctor. I hate her. Guys, I hate her. Here's why. I hadn't seen her in a while, and I walked into her office, and she took one look at me and said, "Oh, I can see you're getting your woman's body." Don't say that to another human person unless you have to, and you don't. And her biggest concern was vitamins. Are you taking vitamins? It's very important. Do you take vitamins? And I was like, well, sometimes I stand in the sun. Is that everything that you mean? Is that it? Wasn't. So I Googled health food stores, another mistake, and found myself at the Garden of Eden Wellness Center, which was not my mistake, but someone's mistake for naming it that. And if I can be honest with you, I actually think this health food store may have been from another time and dimension, because it is the creepiest small business I have ever been privy to in my life. I'm confident that if I tried to go back there now, there would just be an empty lot and an old homeless man would be like, "Health food store? There hasn't been a health food store here for 40 years. Like, that was the vibe. But I went in anyway, through just like a wall of beads that's sealed behind me, I think. The clerk walked out through her own wall of chimes in the back. Just like an ageless, groovy witch, this woman was. Just like an outfit of scarves and this long, like, silky hair, like one green eye, one even greener eye, you know what I mean? Just slithering around the place. Like, she just looked like the kind of woman that if you were like, "Oh, where are you from?" she'd be like, "Oh, no, I was born of no man's seed. No. No, I simply sprang into being when a coven of my ancestors menstruated into a stone bowl. Anyway, I can see you're getting your woman's body. Thank you guys so much. You've been a real treat.
Tom's tips for tomorrow. It's Tom Cavanagh when we return.
I think if we've learned anything so far, and we haven't, but if we have, it would be that the future is mysterious, right? Could be good, could be bad, right? Might turn out the way you hope, might not. So if one day you wake up in the future and you're not sure which it is, good or bad, let me help. Here now, some signs that the future may not have turned out the way you'd hoped. If your oceanfront property is in Brandon, future may not have turned out the way you hoped. If your passport is from the sovereign nation of Fort McMurray, future may not have turned out the way you hoped. If your grandkids ask you to take them to the Tree Museum, future may not have turned out the way you hoped. If your clone gets laid more than you do, future might not have turned out the way you hoped. If you find your 1988 signed Wayne Gretzky hockey card cannot be used as payment to enter the doomsday bunker, your future may not enter. That's the way you have it. If you just paid $95 to see Die Hard 27 and the plot seemed a little thin, Bruce Willis is still looking good. However, a sign that your future might be working out for you is when your long-lost hometown hockey team comes back to you. It is so obvious that this next comic knows everything about the future because he has such soft, translucent skin. Please welcome the wonderful and advanced Ron Sparks.
Thank you. You know, the natives have an old proverb that says, we do not inherit the earth from our ancestors, we borrow it from our children. If that's true, our kids are going to be pretty ticked with us when they see what we've done. But luckily, though, kids are stupid. I don't know if you've ever talked with one. They're not too bright. They're very naive, and for some reason, they trust us. So I figure for the first 10, 15 years at least, we can just lie to them. You know, we put the right spin on it, we can probably even convince them some of the stuff we're doing is good. You know? Like, hey kids, Daddy's done his chores early. Who wants to go play on Giant Garbage Island? Huh? Yeah, you know, when Daddy was your age, we didn't even have a garbage island. Nope. Daddy and his friends, we had to build that for you. Out of garbage. Took a long time. You know, back then we wanted to go to England. We had to fly there all the way from St. John's to London, nonstop. We didn't have the option to just walk. And the best part of Giant Garbage Island, kids, is it's never gonna go away because Daddy and his buddies had the forethought to build it out of plastic bags. Yeah, we're addicted to plastic. Everything's plastic. We make things plastic that don't even need to be plastic. Why do we have money with plastic in it now? It's not better than paper money. It's worse. Plastic money sticks together. I don't know if I've got one $20 bill or 6. I bought a hamburger yesterday. It cost me $108. Plastic money melts. You forget a $5 bill in your pocket, put your pants in the dryer, it comes out. It's not a $5 bill anymore. It's a crumpled up ball of Wilfrid Laurier. It's creepy. We're even making plastic cars now. By 2020, 1/5 of all of our cars will be plastic. Basically what that means is if you ever get stuck in the traffic in Los Angeles in the summer, part of your car could melt. Of course, since it's Los Angeles, that also means part of your girlfriend could melt. You doing all right over there, honey? Why do your breasts look like 2 crumpled up Wilfrid Lauriers? Everything's plastic. You know, we make things plastic that we don't even need at all. You know, like plastic water bottles. We make billions of them every year. Hey, you guys know where else you can get clean, pure, distilled, expertly treated water to drink? Everywhere. Everywhere. You walk into any store or house or, you know, basically any building that has a tap, they can turn it and the water just pours right out. We're the only people. We have this at our fingertips, the envy of the world. And what do we do with it? We say, what? No! No! Get away from me with that death juice. No! Ugh. I'm not drinking something that came out of a tap. Ew! Yeah! No! Here's what we're going to do. We're going to find a pristine, untouched, 10,000-year-old glacial lake in beautiful northern Manitoba. We're gonna send a fleet of gas-guzzling trucks, pump out all the water, drive it to a factory, pump it all into little plastic bottles, through a tap. Then we're gonna pay for it, drink them up, throw the bottles away. What's that? We're running out of landfill space for all these bottles? But don't worry about it, because we can just add them to Giant Garbage Island, because I'm pretty sure our kids are gonna love it. Thank you so much for having me back, Winnipeg. You guys are amazing. Good night.
Graham Clark is anything but future tense when we return.
Now, the following comedian could not be here tonight, but luckily, we were able to make a copy of him on our 3D printer. So please welcome the very realistic-looking Graham Clark.
This is weird. It's weird for me to be in the future show because I don't care about the future. I wouldn't be doing this if I cared about my future. Also, this is the future. Like, from when I was a kid, this is not great. This is the 21st century. This is it. Not great, 21st century. Where are our robots? Where are the robots? They're at the grocery store checking us out. That's it? Put it in the bag, but I don't want a bag. Put it in the bag. Okay, sorry. Sorry, robot. And I'm going bald. In the 21st century, I'm going bald. I don't like it. I like that it's called going bald because it sounds like I'm doing something, right? I like that. Oh, I'd help you move on Saturday, man, but I can't. I'm going bald all day. Sorry. But how is it the 21st century? I'm still going bald. Men have been in charge this whole time. What was more important than figuring out a cure to baldness? In the meantime, we came up with a pill that makes your erection diamond hard. Well, what good is that if you're going bald? Right? Yeah. Nobody's ever gonna see it. It's gonna be you at home with your weird experiment. Maybe make a shadow puppet. Hey, there we go. That's kind of fun. I have a friend who's really into Nostradamus. Do you have one of those? A friend that's into Nostradamus? I predict we're gonna get better friends. Like, I gotta see other people. Nostradamus, for being a guy who predicted the future, not great at it. Like, 95% wrong. I could be that bad at predicting the future. And my friend, he busted this out to prove to me that Nostradamus was good at it. He said, he showed me this thing that a prediction that Nostradamus made way, way back that he said the countries of Europe will be bothered by Hister. And I was like, what does that mean? He goes, he predicted Hitler, man. And I was like, but he said Hister. That's closer to sister than it is to Hitler. Also, bothered is kind of underselling how people felt about Hitler, right? He bothers me. There, I said it. I should get a job. I'm afraid to go to a job interview because sometimes they ask you, like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And you're like, what? Like, I gotta be able to see the future to wash dishes here? The one thing I'm obsessed with when it comes to the future is the movie Back to the Future. Now, basically, the plot of Back to the Future, and I'm obsessed with it. I've seen the movie probably like 813 times. And you watch a movie, and like all of a sudden, little things start to, like, you see things that you never noticed before, and they start to bother you. And Back to the Future has some of those. Like, there's one. Basically, the plot is Michael J. Fox plays Marty McFly. He goes from 1985 to 1955, and he accidentally interrupts his parents getting together, right? So he has to make his parents fall in love so that he can exist in the future. And he does that beautifully, right? He makes his parents fall in love, and in 1955, he's the coolest guy who's ever lived. He is the coolest guy. He invents rock and roll at one point. He invents skateboarding. He beats up the school bully. He helps this couple fall in love, and then he goes back to the future. That's where the title comes from. And everything's great in the future. And this couple has fallen in love, and they've given birth to a guy who looks exactly like the coolest guy they went to school with. Right? Never comes up. Right? Yeah. You would think at one point they'd be like, you know who our son looks like? And I know that I just can't believe it because I remember the coolest guy that I went to school with, right? His name was Brody Pearson, and that guy didn't care about anything. He was amazing. Like, I remember one time the principal of our school said, like, hey, if anybody kicks a ball on top of the school, everybody's losing their ball privileges for the whole year. And Brody just picked up a ball and was like, pong. He didn't care. And we were all like, yeah! Brody, Brody, Brody! What an awesome guy, right? And I'm just saying, like, someday I might, reverse my decision to have kids. Like, maybe I meet a nice lady and we decide to get married and we have some kids. And if one of those kids grew up to look exactly like Brody Pearson, I'd be like, what? Did you sleep with Brody Pearson? Because I'm not mad, because we got Brody's kid. Yay! Brody, Brody, Brody! Winnipeg, you are amazing. Thanks for having me. Have a good night.
All right, that is it, ladies and gentlemen, for our future show. Thank you for coming. If I can leave you with just one bit of advice in parting, it is this. Do not spend all your time worrying about what's going to happen tomorrow, because otherwise then you won't have time to regret yesterday. That's it, everybody. Thank you for coming to the Winnipeg Comedy Festival. Good night.